Welcome to another episode of Let's Make Work Happen. I'm Jennifer Connell, and today I'm happy to welcome Anna Kolomey, Senior Global Mobility Consultant at Danfoss. Hi, Anna. How are you doing today?
Hi, Jen. Nice to see you. All good. Really
Great,
excited.
great. And I have to ask, where are you located?
I'm located in Bulgaria, in Sofia.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think you're our first guest that is located in Bulgaria, so it's wonderful to have you here today. I'd love to start by talking a little bit about you and your background. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into mobility?
Absolutely. I think I've originally started in the general HR, in more like talent acquisition, general HR role, and that was exciting. But at the time, I've realized that I really want to be able to move around the world and work in multiple countries, and that's where I've heard about global mobility. It sounded super exciting and super challenging, and it kind of was it sounded that it will enable me to be able to move around and work in multiple countries. So I worked slowly my way through started with learning about immigration. My first role in the global mobility was mostly on the US immigration side, and then it slowly transitioned into overall relocation and global mobility about 5-6 years ago.
And it certainly is challenging, right? Never seems
It
to
is.
change, does it?
It's never boring. And as I say, I
So
myself live a global mobility life. I studied and worked in multiple countries. So it really helps also relate to people moving.
that is really important because as somebody who's been in your assignee's shoes, your employee's shoes, you know probably a lot more about the
Yeah.
employee experience than anybody.
Yeah, especially during the pandemic, I was also moving myself and my visa also was delayed. So it was,
Oh,
so we kind of were in the same boat with many assignees.
yeah. And for anybody who thinks that those of us in the industry have a leg up on getting things expedited because we know more about it, absolutely not. It was just as confusing for those of us going through the pandemic. We were all in the same boat. So, Anna, can you tell us a little bit about Danfoss? What does the company do? And tell us a little bit about the culture for the people who work there.
Yeah, Danfoss is a Danish headquartered company, and one of the most important thing for me, it's a family-owned company, and it really reflects on the culture, where Danfoss really invests in the people and high-performing diverse teams. Danfoss is focusing on engineering solutions that enables green transition through energy efficiency, machine productivity, electrification.
Well, I mean, when you think of, all of that engineering, that takes a very specialized skill set. I would imagine that the type of talent that you're hiring and that you're looking to move requires a lot of precision, and people have high expectations.
Absolutely.
So this past year, you looked at making changes to your program. I think it was about a year ago that you reached out to our advisory services team and we began our journey together. Was there something in particular that motivated you to look at mobility in a different way?
I think overall we transitioned to Vicart as the new relocation provider, and we had this opportunity to kind of reevaluate and see how we operate. And I think it was an initial first step just to get to know stakeholders, feedback, trends on the market, and basically have a foundation for the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on ever since, and you mentioned earlier the pandemic. People are working so differently than they used to for every industry. And you looked at a lot of information, both internal and external. What kind of information did you need, and what did you find to be the most helpful?
I think the most helpful was actually a variety of different sources, as you mentioned, looking in the benchmarking, how other companies are approaching, sometimes even knowing that a company is struggling with probably the same challenges also helps, as well as like see the trends where other companies are going, the direction. One of the things is we see the trend in actually linking global mobility with the talent, actually focusing more on who and why you move people, being more intentional and promote the talent development.
Yeah. And, when we worked on this project, today we call it our advisory studio. But at the time, we looked at multiple levels of feedback. So we looked at the external benchmarking data, which was very, if I understand correctly, was very important to your internal stakeholders to understand where they were amongst other companies. But then it was very important to you to get that voice of the customer. So it's customer insights, if you will, to look at survey data that was very objective, but then also to speak directly to some of the leaders of the businesses to get their perspective on the direction of the company. And so that you could understand if the needs of the talent of the future were aligning with how they felt it was going to be. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it definitely helped in laying the foundation because we are currently going through a HR transformation process. We are mapping all our processes, and it really kind of helped understanding best practices and just to navigate through the transition.
Yeah. And I thought what was really interesting about it, and I really liked your perspective, is that the benchmarking really, it tells a company where they are at a single point in time. And because
Mhm.
mobility policies tend to lag, the policies reflect companies from 2 years ago or 4 years ago. It depends on how long it takes for companies to update their policies. And I think a lot of people who are listening to this or watching this video can relate to this. It can take a long time to update policies. But listening to the voice of the customer and speaking to leadership really speaks to where you want to go in the future. And that's really where you wanted to take this program. You wanted to be the leader of the pack. You wanted to say, how can we make this program future proof? Where can we take this so that we're ahead of everybody else and we're getting the best talent and we're really making this program so that our employees are excited about the opportunity to move? The final step in this project was the workshop, where we presented all of the information to your stakeholders and you led them through the talent frameworks and collected their feedback. Why was this workshop an important step in this process?
I think first it served basically just raising an awareness and connecting with the talent team, figuring out the way to actually connect global mobility with the talent agenda. And I think it lays the foundation for the future development and future work.
I've seen global mobility become more visible within organizations since the pandemic and credited as the link to talent. Having partnered with you on this project, I know that this is a tremendous amount of effort for you. Would you say that this is worth it?
I think it definitely is. It's a long journey, but it's also, from my perspective, it really shows the value global mobility can add in the overall talent agenda. I think it's a journey. It will take time, but starting those conversations, having those discussions, learning about overall talent strategy, talent processes helps tremendously to move forward.
So, at this point in time, what is your goal for Danfoss at the end of this project? What is the long-term vision for you?
Long term is basically to be enabler for the talent to move across the borders, to develop. And as I said, this is a journey, but it really, really, really helps to connect, to partner with the talent team.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I think what this has done is it's raised the visibility of mobility
Mm.
within the organization for Danfoss, and it's brought up a lot of conversations that haven't happened before. But first, it's all about baby steps, the short term. So, what's on the horizon for you, Anna?
Now we are really looking into some low-hanging fruits, what we can do, how we can facilitate the developmental moves, what opportunities do we have, and through the whole HR transformation, having this foundation really helps, having the vision for the global mobility in the future.
So, if there's any advice that you could impart on somebody who is thinking of updating their program and taking on a large transformation such as this that's significant, perhaps linking mobility to talent or making changes in some other way, what advice would you share with them?
I would say reach out to the talent, start conversations, start discussing. Sometimes maybe you might not even know what to ask. Sometimes you might not even know what you have to propose, but just starting the conversation, learning the stakeholders, learning the talent team, just starting those discussions really, really helps.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I think we've come to near the end. So, Anna, it's our last question. It's the question I always ask at the end, and it's your turn. I'd love to know, how do you, Anna, make work happen?
I think in our global mobility world where everything is unpredictable and changes, you just continue moving forward and get things done.
Wonderful. Well, we're at the end. I want to thank you, Anna. I really appreciate your time, and it helps to hear firsthand how you're making things happen and going through this significant transformation. I want to thank everyone for watching, and it was a pleasure to have you here. I know you're on a different time zone, so and it's almost near the end of your day. Thank you so much. Everyone, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so you don't miss any of our episodes in the future. We'll see you next time.